Welcome to the Scoutcast, where strategy meets soul and marketing is more than metrics. I'm your host, Ray Hoffman, and today's episode is all about something deeper than conversion rates or ad clicks. It's about community, specifically what it means for a business to truly be involved in a community, and why that's not just a feel-good move, but smart, strategic one. Because let's face it, your business isn't just part of the market. It's part of a neighborhood, a city, a culture. And when you show up for the people around you, amazing things happen. So let's dive into why community involvement is good business and how you can start today. Community involvement is more than just donating to a cause once a year or sponsoring a banner at a softball game. It's about becoming a consistent, positive presence in the lives of the people around you. This can look like volunteering your time or your team's talents, hosting a free class or informational workshop, supporting local nonprofits, not just with money, but with energy and resources, sharing your business platform to highlight other voices doing good in the community. It can be involvement in your local home builders association if you're in the building association, or take your talents of marketing in the service industry or building industry and using it for an organization that builds homes for veterans, or work with a group that does tiny homes. It can be anything, but the key is to make sure it's intentional, make sure it's something that you believe in because you're going to work harder for it, and make sure it's something that you enjoy. It's all about stepping out the four walls of your business and making a real human connection. When you do that, people stop seeing you as a business and start seeing you as their business, one they trust, one they want to support. So let's break it down. Why is community involvement good for your bottom line? Customer loyalty. People want to support brands that support places they live, work, and raise their families. It builds emotional equity, and that is a powerful, powerful tool. Brand differentiation. In a saturated market, community work sets you apart. It tells a story that resonates on a personal level. Better employee engagement. People want to work for companies that care. It increases morale, retention, and gives your team a sense of shared purpose. Expanded network. The more present you are in your community, the more you meet the right people, potential partners, clients, and even future employees. Positive publicity. Great community work naturally attracts attention from media influencers and word of mouth. It's not just the right thing to do. It's one of the smartest things you can do. So let me give you a real world example that's close to my heart. I was at a company and I really started thinking about what are we doing for our community? What are we helping our community do? And the answer was nothing. Yeah, we did an employee's kids softball team or employees kids hockey team. We did stuff like that. So I'm not going to say we didn't do anything for our community, but we weren't present. We wrote a check, sent it in, and said, great, we helped. So as I was thinking about this, I was trying to figure out how we can help. What I did is I started a community inside the company, or a committee, inside the company that gets together on a regular basis, on a monthly basis, and talks about what they can do for the community, what we can do to expand the community involvement of the company. It was more than just a side project. It was a committee built into the company culture, designed to identify and support local needs. This committee was outstanding. It was a volunteer committee. Everybody joined it was a volunteer. At first, I ran it, and then it was brought up to flagpole where we decided on a leader for that committee. One of the first things we did is, you know what? We really want to support kids coming into the industry. We really want to support kids coming into any industry. So we started a scholarship fund. We started a scholarship fund for kids um, to further themselves and help our industry, help any industry really. We wanted to support kids that were doing well, so we started a scholarship for that. Somebody that was really involved in their community, so we started a scholarship for that. And it just kept going and kept going. Now, I believe there's been over 200 kids that have received a part of a fund that we created inside the company to help them with their college experience or help them with their trade school experience. All because, not because they're 4.2, 4.4, whatever their grades are, had nothing to do with their grades. It had to do with their community involvement. How are they helping their community? How are they helping their community grow? These people were elected by the local principals, local counselors. They weren't elected by us. They weren't chosen by us. They were chosen by a group of people that looked at who was nominated, and then we brought them on a radio show that we sponsored so they could talk about their experience of being in a community and being involved in the community. So we called it the Student of the Week. Typically, they were juniors, seniors, and really they would put me to shame. The amount of volunteering they do while they're also carrying a full-time work schedule, or not full-time work, part-time work schedule, but full-time school schedule, was amazing. This team, this committee inside the company, organized donation drives. They volunteered together. They've done things for veterans. They've done things for local dog shelters. So they've done all kinds of things volunteering together. We even formed and it's still going today, I think it's like year 5, where we literally just sponsor a area of the river, and we walk along both sides of that river for, I think it was like 2.5 miles. And we just pick up garbage to help our environment and keep our environment clean. It's an amazing thing. And that really, really helped us create a culture of support for our local needs. It wasn't about doing good. It created a ripple effect inside the business. The morale went up. People were proud to work there. And guess what? Customers noticed. One of the things we did is we went to our technicians and say, hey, if you run across a customer that really needs something done, but they just can't afford it, you call up this person. They will have an email go out right away. And if it gets approved, the company will sponsor that project to be done. I remember one instance that a technician called me. I was that designated person. Technician called me, and her wife or her husband had passed away like 4 weeks before, 5 weeks before. And she really didn't have any money. She was living off of Social Security and trying to make ends meet. Her husband was always the person that took care of the money. So it's a whole new learning experience for her. And I get it. That's the age group that she grew up in. That's what happened back then. Doesn't happen so much anymore, but did happen back then. I remember my parents. My father was a money guy. He always took care of the money. My mother, she didn't really know how much money we had. She just knew that if she asked my father for money for something, above and beyond standard living, like groceries and stuff like that. But if she said, you know what, honey, I really need a new dress, my father said, go ahead. And they worked out a budget together. So, but that was the age group they grew. That was how they grew up. That's how their marriage worked. And this lady was in the same instance. Well, she had a major, major issue that could have caused a fire in her home. And the total project was like $30,000 or something like that. He went out to his truck, put together the quote. He called me up and told me the situation. and her husband died of cancer, by the way. He told me the situation, how dire it was, and how she didn't have the money to pay for those repairs. I got an email. Actually, it was a chat. Messaged out the entire committee. Everybody approved it, and within 5 minutes, we had the full approval to take on the $3,000 out of the budget from the committee. And we did the work at no charge. This lady was so happy. We had another instance where the wife was separated from her husband. She was in an abusive relationship, and she was just trying to make ends meet as well without the husband or father around. She had 2 kids, trying to, just survive. And same type of situation where he called me. I went out there and sent out the message. Everybody approved it, and within 5 minutes, we were all set to take on a $1,200 project. This is the type of things that I really care about. I care about helping my community. I care about helping people that need the help. I'm not saying that you walk into a $1.5 million home or $2 million home. Well, maybe I am in California, something like that. And people that can afford it, you just give them free stuff. You don't do that. That's not what I felt anyways. I wanted to help people that needed the help. So we did. And guess what happened? People notice. They'd mention it in reviews. They'd bring it up in conversations. They'd refer others because they like what the company stood for. The lady that whose husband passed away, we ended up doing her daughter's house, her son's house. Her son wanted solar. We ended up doing that. So in the long run, that helped us help them and got us great referrals to some great people. Now, this is what happens when your values go beyond your website copy and show up in your actions. Now, maybe you're thinking that's awesome, but where do I even start? The good news, you don't need a big budget or a full-time community manager. You just need heart and consistency. Here are more ways to begin. Attend local events. How I got actively involved in my local association is I was at every event. I was out there. The old joke of kissing babies and shaking hands. It wasn't kissing babies because there wasn't any babies at the association meetings, but shaking a lot of hands, introducing myself, volunteering for committees. Ended up running their trade show for many years. Still very actively in their trade show. Ended up being on the membership committee, making phone calls, introducing. Ended up being ambassador for the group. Ended up being on the one of the boards, and ended up becoming the member of the year one year, and it was awesome. But what it really meant to me was that it was helping my company grow. It was helping the industry grow. And something that happened in 2015 was an amazing thing. And if I wasn't on the board and I did do all that work beforehand, I would have never known about it. A friend of mine now, back then he was an acquaintance. A friend of mine now came to the board, actually a couple of friends of mine now, came to the board and said, hey, we want to start this organization inside of the Builders Association. And they did a presentation on it. It was a group called Operation Finally Home. They wanted to build 2 mortgage-free homes for veterans in Wisconsin. I'm a veteran. Amazing opportunity to help my fellow veterans, right? I got up and we had lunch, and I walked up to one of the gentlemen and said, I want to be your first volunteer. I want to help. How can I help? Ended up doing the marketing and helping with the events and helping with the committee of events and how to plan them, and utilizing my skills and my leadership to create some great programs. The golf outing is now in its 10th year. It's run by a separate gentleman now. The 5K run is in its, I believe it's 6th or 7th year. We have concerts in the park a few times a year. We had a huge concert at one of the major venues in downtown Milwaukee. And all that started because of my networking and my talking to people. And that didn't cost us a whole lot of money. It was my time, absolutely. And it was a lot of time, but oh my gosh, it was so rewarding. So start small. Donate a gift basket to a raffle. Sponsor a Little League team or partner with a local school for Career Day. Use your reach. Promote nonprofits or community events on your business social media pages. Create your own vision of a CARES committee. Form a small internal team focused on outreach, ideas that reflect your business's personality, values, and skills. No act is too small. What matters is that it's genuine and consistent. So here's what I leave you with. Community involvement isn't an afterthought. It's not a nice to have. It's a strategy, one that builds loyalty, enhances culture, and roots your business in something bigger than sales targets. Start by asking yourself one question. If your business disappeared tomorrow, would the community notice? If the answer is no, then now's the perfect time to start changing that. Thanks for joining me on this Scoutcast. If this episode sparked some ideas, I'd love to hear them. Share it with someone who believes in business that gives back. And as always, keep building something that matters. Until next time, stay intentional, stay involved, and stay human.